Typhoon Ompong's strength intensifies as it enters the Philippine area of responsibility. Government assures backup communication plan during the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong. And Central and Northern Luzon brace for the possible effects of a powerful storm Ompong. Filipinos should brace themselves for rains after Typhoon Ompong entered the Philippine area of responsibility or PAR this afternoon. Leslie Longbowen is at the UNTV Weather Center to tell us why. Leslie?
Yes, good evening. Typhoon Ompong is now in the Philippine area of responsibility. As of 4 p.m. today, Pag-asa located the eye of the typhoon at 1,145 kilometers east of Veraca, Tanduanes. It packs maximum sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 255 kilometers per hour as it moves westward at 20 kilometers per hour. Typhoon Ompong is expected to make a landfall over the northern tip of Cagayan on Saturday. Meanwhile, tropical cyclone warning signal number 1 is raised in Catanduanes. According to Pag-asa, trough of Typhoon Ompong and southwest monsoon are now affecting southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms will be experienced in the said areas. Meanwhile, isolated rain showers will prevail over Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Forecast shows temperature in Metro Manila tomorrow will range from 25 to 32 degrees Celsius, 15 to 22 degrees Celsius in Baguio City, 25 to 30 degrees Celsius in Metro Cebu, and 24 to 32 degrees Celsius in Metro Davao. Tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:45 in the morning. That's weather forecast. Back to the studio.
Thank you very much, Leslie Longbowen from the UNTV Weather Center. Meanwhile, disaster agencies are preparing for the worst-case scenarios ahead of the impact of Typhoon Ompong. Authorities also continue to urge the public to make necessary preparations, even those who are not in the direct path of the storm. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
Never underestimate the intensity of Typhoon Ompong. This has been the warning of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council to the public as the powerful storm continues to threaten the country.
Yolanda was upper 300 di ba? 385. So malayo siya sa Yolanda. But malakas ito.
NDRRMC advises residents in northern and central Luzon as well as in Cagayan region to observe preemptive evacuation ahead of Ompong's onslaught. Residents along landslide-prone, low-lying and coastal areas are also cautioned due to possible storm surges.
Doon sa mga lugar na bahain, kailangan mabilis silang mag-evacuate doon. Mabilis mag-decide yung local chief executive kung kailangan na ba sila mag-evacuate. And kailangan nila yung trigger, and that is early advisory.
The agency expects the typhoon will also affect other regions because its diameter measures 900 kilometers. According to Undersecretary Ricardo Halad of the Office of Civil Defense, the national government has set contingency plans for any worst-case scenarios. Teams are also deployed along the typhoon's forecasted track to deliver additional relief and backup communication services.
We're seeing the use of C-130 and C-295 aircraft from the Philippine Air Force. At kung hindi kakayanin yung deployment or dispatch ng aircraft, they will be using land transportation.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The government prepares additional measures to prevent communication delays and power outages during the onset of Typhoon Ompong. Leia Ilagan explains why.
The National Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, assures the public that the government has a backup plan in case communication problems persist during the onslaught of potential Super Typhoon Ompong. According to NDRRMC spokesperson Edgar Posadas, the agency has been preparing measures to prevent communication delays and power outage similar to what happened during the onset of Typhoon Yolanda in 2013.
Sa communications din po, yung pagpaghahanda natin ng emergency telecommunications.
Meanwhile, Undersecretary Ricardo Halad of the Office of the Civil Defense wants to make sure a redundancy or an alternative means of communication that would be available especially for emergency workers and first responders amid the storm. Halad says problems during the onslaught of Typhoon Yolanda have prompted them to intensify preparations to avoid similar delays in rescue and relief response. Posadas, meanwhile, assures that major telecommunication companies like Smart and Globe already vowed to allow the use of their facilities and provide alternative communication lines when necessary. The NDRRMC is determined to achieve zero casualties on the course of Typhoon Ompong. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development has repositioned more than 30,000 family food packs and 400 sacks of rice in DSWD Region 2 filed office for families that will be affected by Typhoon Ompong. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development has prepositioned 31,500 family food packs and 420 sacks of rice at the DSWD Region 2 field office. This is the first action of the DSWD that assures that there will be enough relief goods for those who will be affected by Typhoon Ompong. According to DSWD Undersecretary Hope Heravilla, they are taking advantage now that the weather is still clear to send 1,000 family kits, 1,000 hygiene kits, and 1,000 sleeping kits at the DSWD field office too. The agency also deployed additional team in Batanes to monitor the condition and the needs of residents once Typhoon Ompong hits northern Luzon.
We have already sent our advance team in Batanes. Mga 6 yun sila na pinangunahan ng ating director ng ating bureau. And so far, nakausap na nila si Governor doon at meron na tayong binigay na augmentation fund sa kanila para magkaroon sila ng sarili nilang procurement ng bigas.
The DSWD added that they have also prepared 400,000 family food packs prepositioned in different parts of the country. The agency also allotted 1.7 billion pesos quick response fund to augment the needs of Filipinos.
All over the country, we have around family food packs na naka-preposition na doon and around standby fund. Pag dating ng bagyo, naka-preposition na yung ating mga goods, particularly sa Region 2 sa Batanes. Meron tayong around 31,500 family food packs na naka-preposition doon.
5,000 family food packs had been sent today to Batanes. This morning, 1,600 sacks of rice had been sent to Region 2 via air travel. Repacking of family food packs are ongoing at the DSWD warehouse and is open for volunteers who would like to extend help. Volunteers may call their hotline access number at 0918-912-2813. The DSWD assures they have enough relief packs, hygiene and food kits for residents who will be much affected by Typhoon Ompong, especially those in northern Luzon. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Provinces in central and northern Luzon are now preparing for Typhoon Ompong. Here's Mon Hokson to tell us why.
The provinces in central and northern Luzon are totally preparing for the coming of Typhoon Ompong. The Provincial Disaster, Risk Reduction and Management Council in the region are preparing all the needed equipment for rescue missions. This include radios, drone, lifeboat, rescue ropes, and generators. Different rescue groups are also preparing to immediately clear roads when landslides occur. This is important so that assistance coming from other areas can easily reach the affected provinces. Officials of PDRRMC say that the whole of central and northern Luzon are under blue alert because of the typhoon. The PDRRMC also calls on the public to prepare and always be ready.
Lahat ng mga sinasabi ng ating gobyerno, ito po sana ay sundin kasi para sa kanila rin ito, para sa atin din ito.
Meanwhile, farmers have taken advantage of the afternoon heat to harvest rice. They are afraid that the typhoon will destroy all of the rice fields.
Pinaka-importante kasi nahabol namin ngayon yung bagyo. Para maisinip yung mga palay rito. Habang walang bagyo kasi mamayang gabi darating yung bagyo.
Marami pong masisirang kwan dito, palay pagka dumating yung bagyo na yun.
Another problem of farmers is losing profit because no one wants to buy palay during this month. They said rice millers still have many palay reserves in warehouses. If they insist of selling, traders will buy it on a lower price instead of the price they want.
Ikakalugi po. Dahil unang-una po, yun nga, ang inaasam namin na presyo na sinasabing nasa 25, 24, hindi po.
Okay.
Ngayon na po, lumalabas na po ang presyohan. Yung isa dito sa isang na bukid ko, 17 na lang ang pagkakuha. Galing ng bukid po yun, sariwa, kung tinatawag.
Others also take advantage to dry the palay in the afternoon heat. Meanwhile, heavy rains and strong winds is not yet felt in some provinces in central and northern Luzon. Mon Hocson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Nueva Vizcaya.
Rice farmers in Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija opt to harvest their crops early as Typhoon Ompong threatens Luzon. Eileen Cerudo tells us why.
Farmers are compelled to force harvest their yield as a potential super typhoon Ompong heads towards the Philippines. According to Leonida Reyes, an agriculture officer at the Cabanatuan City Agriculture and Livelihood Management Office, almost 90% of the rice crops in the city are in their early vegetative stage and set for harvest supposedly in October. Reyes says that in view of the typhoon, they have no choice but to advise farmers for an early harvest while there is time for their palay to dry, rather than suffer the consequences and drown their crops.
Yun nga, para hindi bumaha sa kanilang palayan, ibukas na yung lawasan. At para yung tubig, hindi mag-stay doon mismo doon sa gitnang palayan.
Rice farmer Magnus Santiago spent around 50,000 for palay this planting season. He is supposed to harvest his yield end of September, expecting to earn about 60 sacks of rice from each hectare. However, his hope dwindled upon knowing of an approaching cyclone. Magno had no choice but to harvest his yield ahead of time than to earn nothing.
Meron pa parating na malakas na bagyo eh. Kahit na lang paano mapakinabangan niya o papakinabangan to halimbawa lumubog sa tubig ito eh, di ala nang papakinabangan nun eh. Kahit paano makamukhang lang na mangkain.
Meanwhile, the local government of Cabanatuan assures to provide the necessary assistance to farmers who would be affected by the storm. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue.
Vegetable prices surge in Benguet amid farmers' preparation for the impact of Typhoon Ompong. Robbie De Guzman tells us why.
The provincial government of Benguet has advised vegetable farmers to harvest their crops before it is too late as a strong cyclone threatens to pummel the country. Benguet Provincial Administrator Noel Ngolob also reminds farmers to refrain from nighttime delivery as roads can be slippery and dangerous amid the inclement weather.
Na kung pwede silang makapag-harvest ng mga harvestable products nila, produce nila by tomorrow kasi wala pa naman yung bagyo. They will do it. And then we also have agreed that they will be advised not to travel at night. Kasi kung minsan, dahil sa hinahabol nila yung presyo ng gulay, they would want to bring their produce to the market immediately, even during night time. Pero yun po yung mga time na delikado ang pag-travel, kaya we'll be making the advisory that as much as possible walang magbibiyahe ng gabi. Pag nandito na yung bagyo.
In preparation for the potential super typhoon Ompong, some vegetable farmers, apart from early harvest, already placed plastic protections to save their crops. As expected, vegetable prices surged in Benguet as farmers battle the impact of the inclement weather on their livelihood.
Tumas, doble ang presyo ng dagang masyadong malaki ang tinas.
Some of the vegetables affected by price surge include potato, cabbage, celery, and cauliflower, while the prices of green leeks, wombok, and carrots have marked down. The price of radish, however, remains stable at 100 pesos per kilogram. Robbie De Guzman, UNTV, News and Rescue.
News. Here are the top stories on the second part of our newscast. President Rodrigo Duterte to issue an executive order simplifying food importation to tame inflation. Ousted Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno warns of negative effects on the revocation of the amnesty granted to opposition Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. And Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano believes President Rodrigo Duterte committed an impeachable offense for receiving over foreign intel on critics. President Rodrigo Duterte is set to issue an executive order that will simplify the process of food importation amid inflation woes. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The economic managers of the government are proposing to simplify the process of food importation as one of the measures to mitigate the country's high inflation rate. To do this, President Rodrigo Duterte will issue a directive to shorten the process of importing essential food items like rice, meat, and sugar. A simplified process would mean faster arrival and distribution of imported food in order to stabilize market prices of staple products. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says the economic managers will submit the draft executive order to the Office of President Rodrigo Duterte.
The Economic Cluster Group will submit to the Office of the President a draft executive order removing administrative constraints and non-tariff barriers on importation of fish, rice, sugar, meat, and vegetables.
The Department of Trade and Industry, meanwhile, is urging the manufacturing companies to retain the selling price of basic necessities and prime commodities for the next 3 months. This include canned sardines and meat, coffee, milk, instant noodles, bread, among others.
Actually, all BNPCs, manufactured BNPCs, nag-commit sila na hindi gagalaw. But basically, yung food products, yun yung mga nabanggit natin.
Meanwhile, President Duterte has yet to appoint a replacement for National Food Authority Administrator Jason Aquino. The President revealed during his televised one-on-one interview with Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo Tuesday that Aquino asked to be relieved from his post. Malacañang did not dismiss the possibility of Aquino being charged of complaints in relation to the rice crisis in the country.
Well, it's without prejudice kung merong basihan para sa pananagutan, pero sa ngayon po, abalang presidente na naghahanap ng kapalit ni Jason Aquino.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
The House Makabayan Bloc files a joint resolution providing for a 10 billion peso supplemental budget for the National Food Authority. The 10 billion peso supplemental fund would be exclusively used by the NFA to procure 500 metric tons of palay from local farmers at a farm gate price of 20 pesos per kilogram for September 2018 to January 2019. Lawmakers say the measure aims to address issues on rice supply and prices in the country and to help local farmers. In other news, the ousted Supreme Court Chief Justice warns against the possible negative implications of the proclamation of President Duterte revoking the amnesty granted to Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
Ousted Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, as well as several lawmakers in the lower house, visited Senator Antonio Trillanes IV today. Sereno, however, did not detail their conversation with Senator Trillanes. For the former chief magistrate, there is indeed legal impediments if the administration will insist arrest despite the ruling of the Supreme Court on the petition of the senator.
The Supreme Court has already called attention to the fact that there are these public undertakings that are consistent with what the Constitution requires, which is no arrest without a court-issued warrant.
The former CJ also warns against the possible negative implication of the proclamation of the president.
What President Duterte did by not consulting even the military is very dangerous. In other words, kumbaga pinahamak ni President Duterte ang AFP. Biruin mo namang buksan ang ideya na lahat ng mga amnestiya na naibigay na sa libo-libong sundalo na nagkaroon ng problema sa batas. Hindi lang sa time ni Cory, lahat pala yan ay maaaring buksan.
Meanwhile, the camp of Trillanes is now preparing for the hearing set by the Branch 148 of the Makati Regional Trial Court tomorrow.
We have already filed our comment and opposition. stating therein the grounds that we are relying on for the dismissal. No?
Malacañang, on the other hand, emphasized that they will leave the fate of the senator to the court. The palace also stands firm that there are no hindrance now with the implementation of the Proclamation number 572.
So we are awaiting the issuance of the RTC, if any, of a warrant of arrest against Senator Trillanes. Inevitably, it is the court that will rule on the validity of Proclamation 572 because if it issues a warrant of arrest, it is ruling that 572 is valid. If it refuses, then it is ruling that 572 is invalid.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Meanwhile, Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano believes that President Rodrigo Duterte committed an impeachable offense after claiming that he received foreign intel about his critics. Grace Casin tells us why.
Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano thinks President Rodrigo Duterte allowed breach of security by a foreign country when he said that he received foreign intel about his critics. The president claimed during his televised one-on-one interview at the Malacañang on Tuesday that a foreign country sympathetic to him provided data about opposition figures plotting his ouster.
Alam mo si Season, pati itong Magdalo. Season Magdalo, pati itong mga ayaw sa akin, yung talagang hindi tumanggap sa akin ever since the election. They have combined. And we have the evidence, and we have the conversation provided by a foreign country, sympathetic to us.
If this is true, Alejano says Duterte committed an impeachable offense.
Magpapatunay lamang na ang Pangulo ay kino-compromise ang ating seguridad at ang soberenya ng ating bansa. Yes, impeachable offense yan. Marami na siyang impeachable offenses na nagawa sa bansa.
But according to presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque, this is just part of intelligence sharing.
What I do know is that's the nature of intel. Intel precisely is intended to provide you information to avoid eventualities.
Alejano filed an impeachment complaint against Duterte in 2017 in relation to the administration's war on drugs. However, it was dismissed by the House Committee on Justice for insufficiency in substance. The one-year ban in filing an ouster complaint against Duterte has lapsed. But when he asked if he's going to file another impeachment complaint, Alejano says,
The impeachment complaint will come at the right time, at the proper time.
Grace Casin, UNTV, News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines in Eastern Mindanao vowed to remain loyal to the Philippine Constitution amid political issues surrounding the Duterte administration. Marisol Montaño tells us why.
Police and military officials in Eastern Mindanao assures they will remain apolitical and non-partisan amid destabilization issues facing the Duterte government. The statement comes after allegations that some disgruntled active military officers are conniving with other groups working to overthrow President Rodrigo Duterte. The president has mentioned anew that a destabilization plot against him is in the works and will allegedly go into a high gear in October. According to Lieutenant Colonel Ezra Balagtay, AFP Eastern Mindanao Command spokesperson, they will not support any political activity in the region.
Eastern Mindanao Command, together with its subordinate units, is solid and undivided and loyal to the Constitution and to the Republic of the Philippines.
Balagtay adds they are monitoring their personnel as well as communist rebels and other enemies of the state in relation to ouster plots against Duterte.
In fact, in some of our law enforcement operations dun sa Jensan, tumabas sa kanilang mga captured na documents of the plan to oust Duterte. Ito naman yung lagi naman ginagawa ng CPP-NPA. That is actually their ultimate objective to oust the sitting president and change sa kanilang gustong maging presidente.
The PNP Region 11 also assures they will remain loyal to the Philippine Constitution and will verify reports on supposed destabilization efforts against the government.
We do not
support any of the movement on CODITA, but rather we are in support with the Constitution mandated to us, and we are also on the line with full support with our President as long as he is a constitutional authority, so we will follow what he says and mandate to the Philippine National Police.
Marisol Montayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
The Philippine National Police denies the alleged recruitment within the ranks of its Special Action Force to join a group against President Rodrigo Duterte. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde maintains the police force remains loyal to the rule of law and chain of command. Albayalde also refutes reports that some cops have shaved their heads in protest against Duterte. The group of former House Majority Leader Rodolfo Fariñas asked the Supreme Court to intervene in the minority leadership issue at the House of Representatives. In a petition filed before SC Fariñas and his allies are urging the High Court to restrain. Meanwhile, the group of former House Majority Leader Rodolfo Fariñas asked the Supreme Court to intervene in the minority leadership issue at the House of Representatives. In a petition filed before SC, Fariñas and his allies are urging the High Court to restrain Quezon Representative Danilo Suarez from performing the duties and functions of the minority leader, and for the High Tribunal to recognize ABS party list Representative Eugene De Vera as the House Minority Leader of the 17th Congress. Fariñas' group argues that Suarez should not be recognized as Minority Leader because he supported and voted to elect Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo as Speaker of the House. House rules state that members who vote for the winning candidate for Speaker shall constitute the House majority, and they shall elect themselves the Majority Leader. Named as respondents in the complaint are Suarez, House Speaker Gloria Arroyo, and Majority Leader Rolando Andaya Jr. Suarez, meanwhile, says he respects the petitioner's right to seek redress from the High Court. Cebuano Wishers enjoyed a music-filled night brought by Wishcovery. Gladys Tawabi tells us why.
Lovers of Cebu flocked at the IC3 Convention Center Tuesday to witness the first leg of the Wishcovery concert tour. Cebuano Wishers jam with the performances of Visual 5 of Wishcovery Season 1. Wishcovery host and R&B prince Chris Lawrence. And one of the renowned songwriters joining Wishcovery Season 2, Tap Suzara. Wishcovery Season 1 Cebu representative Zekaya Jane Miller also graced the event. Fans were delighted with the music-filled evening.
Wish, thank you for this wonderful experience. Ang galing-galing na mga Wishful 5. And our experience is very worth it, and thank you sa lahat. Thank you for coming to Cebu.
Naginaod ko na mabalik pa sila kay kanang para nako ay nakarelate ko sila mga kanta kay actually magtigpaminaw sa mga OPM songs, and supporters ako sa OPM, so kanang medyo rang fulfilling ang event para nako.
Meanwhile, the Wishcovery team thanked the Cebuanos for the warm support for the first leg of the tour.
Ang saya ng bawat isa sa amin, lalo parang teary-eyed na sobrang dami na sumusuporta sa amin dito sa Cebu.
Yung makita yung love and support ng Cebuano Wishers sa aming Wishful, sobrang nakaka-inspire at mas nagiging drive namin na ipagpatuloy yung ginagawa namin.
In the next season of Wishcovery, Chris Lawrence and Top Suzara are excited to find the next singing sensation and hear new OPM songs.
I'm very, very excited for Season 2 kasi iba na yung mechanics. This one is a level up because now it's the singer and the song. So now we have 7 of the top hit makers in the Philippines.
This is going to be really different. Iba yung concept talaga. We are going to be coming up with songs. Ibang klase to.
Wishcovery Season 2 will air this October on the #1 FM YouTube channel in the country, Wish 107.5. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu.